Green Pinky Gardener here, and in this video I will like to show you how my backyard is progressing for garden 2017. So this year I took extra care to induce production in my two nectarine trees. Out of all the years I've had my nectarine trees, which is about maybe like 5, it only produced once, and those nectarines were absolutely heavenly. And this year, it looks like I will get some nectarines again. I spray them with fungicide spray and horticultural oil because these trees have had pretty severe peach leaf curl in the past few years. Last year was particularly bad, and last year the weather was a bit crazy during blossoming time, so probably that's why I didn't get any fruit last year. But this year I see a bunch of blossoms and I'm super excited and happy about it. I did do a really thorough job in pruning. I think last year I didn't prune correctly or properly or enough, so maybe that was why. But like nectarine trees, any fruit trees need a lot of air circulation through the branches, or else fungus and whatever kind of disease will take over pretty quickly. And then on my other fruit tree, my dwarf sweet cherry tree, that is grafted, so it has probably 3 or so varieties grafted onto this single tree. It looks like it will produce this year. I do see some blossoms and it's starting to come out, which is great. Last year I lost all my cherries to birds. So unfortunate. I was away in China, and right before I got back, the birds just ate up every single last cherry. And they had some nerve because literally the stem and the pit of the cherries were still attached to the tree, but no actual fruit was left on them. How sad. And as you may or may not know, I had a pretty bad vole problem this past winter, so all the clover that I seeded last year got pretty much destroyed. And there's a lot of oh Lord, what are all those bees? Jesus Christ. Pretty much got destroyed, and there's a bunch of bare patches. Now clover is very aggressive, so it probably will fill up by the end of summer, but you know, that's what I gotta deal with. And then this year I got a dump load of wood chips, great for mulching. And this is a kind of shout out to Patrick from OneYardRevolution. It advocates using wood chip for mulching along the pathways and everything like that. Really increases the fertility of your soil over the years, and that's what I'm trying to do. So that's what I did, and mulch all the bare spots, or at least a good amount of it, right? And then moving on over here, those are my boxwood shrubs. They're doing pretty well considering they've had some rough times, but they're, what are these wasps or something? Good Lord. Like, for some reason some of the bushes are flowering and literally the wasps are swarming in it. It's freaking me out. And these are a few of this is one of my golden, okay, this is a kind of ugly one. This is a golden alyssum, right? And it's not like an annual like the regular sweet alyssum. It's a perennial that's super cold hardy down to zone 3, and it came back and looks like it's flowering this year, which is super cool. And then this year I decided to do sunken in pots to expand my growing space. I guess this is a shout out to Gary from the Rusted Garden. He gave me the idea to do this, right? This is gonna be one of the beds that I'm growing my tomatoes in. And this year, okay, this is an original idea, so shout out to me. Just to increase my growing space, I did sunken in containers, as you can see, but then I will be growing pole beans up along this, so I had like this long space, so I just strung up some twine, braided it and strung it up there, and then hopefully that works out. The varieties of pole beans I'm growing is Italian pole bean, super tasty, and the yard long bean, so it's like an Asian variety, and I didn't have much luck last year, but hopefully this year I'll do better. Right now it's a bit of a mess because I'm redoing the jointing, the interlocking jointing, and this is in a much better state than it was a few weeks ago from last year, because the clover, weeds, whatever just took over, and it took me several hours to dig it out. Exhausting. But then I did that, and now I'm redoing the jointing. Hopefully it works out. Okay, so moving along back here, this is the main bed that I'll be growing my tomatoes in. It's a little bit troublesome because right back along here I have this wild kind of area, and that's where all the voles are coming from, right? So, we'll see. Better not eat all my tomatoes, that'll be very irritating. And then, oh yes, I almost forget. So this is my grapevine, and it definitely will be coming back this year. For some reason, leaves haven't shown up yet. It's a little bit worrisome, but I did prune it, and it was like bleeding, as they say. Like it was like spewing out a bunch of water liquid from the cuts, and that's an indication that it's still alive. So I have a strong feeling it's because I don't get enough sun back here. That's why it's taking extra long for it to come back. So yeah, that's what. And then in my next video, hopefully I would have my arbor that I built myself installed, and I'm super proud of it. It is going to be really cool looking, and I can't wait to show you guys. Yeah, those are just my pots. I'll be growing the tomatoes, peppers, and whatnot in them. Just threw some mulch on there. Started some bok choy in there, and these came up really fast. These are great, super cold hardy. It's just small bok choy, so yeah, it's good stuff. More sunken in containers that I'll be growing okra and some kale, walking stick cabbage, and whatnot. This will be my flower bed like I had last year. I think I do have some flowers from last year that are coming back up. In this little well-like looking thing, I threw in some chrysanthemum. So basically chrysanthemum greens. It's a Chinese vegetable, and yeah, it's has a very herbaceous flavor. Not my favorite, but apparently it's super healthy for you. So we'll see. It did start to sprout, as you can see. Right. And in these beds, this bed, it will be mainly my cucumbers, beans, and in the center of both of these large beds, I will be growing the walking stick cabbage. And yeah, I did try to grow some carrots, as you can see, some dented in rows, but I don't know what's coming up. It's not the carrots that's coming up. I think it's the calendula from last year that's reseeding itself. It's pretty cool. I almost forgot to mention, I have a serious problem with wild carrots. They kind of spread everywhere, and even though I try to grow carrots, I can't really tell which one's which is obviously you can imagine the problem there. So see more damage the voles did. This was all filled out. I don't know if you remember from last year, all filled out, but the voles just chewed it up. Yep. And last but not least, my compost pile, which was a home to the voles, by the way. If you want to know, voles love compost piles. And I've been collecting leaves from the foresty area that's near around here, and that just really attracts earthworms. They love leaves, so if I dig around in there, you'll see a bunch of earthworms in there, which is great. It's not a hot compost pile as of yet. Maybe I'll just leave it as a warm compost pile. Yeah, so that's about it. Thanks for watching, and you'll see updates coming soon. Alright, see ya next time. Bye.